Hi, my name is Jacob Soloner, and this is going to be a brief introduction into the TID form. So we're going to start by understanding the graphing capabilities of this machine, and we're going to plug in something simple, like a quadratic, excuse me. So we're going to press a button on the top left-hand corner that says y equals to plug in our function, and it's going to be x squared minus 16, and then just press graph. Now, the thing about this graph is it's not entirely useful as you can't actually see what's happening with the graph at the bottom, depending on what you need it for. So there are a couple ways we can change this. We can start by pressing zoom. A lot of these are Z-box, which will fill the screen to a box that you make. Zoom in and out, which are self-explanatory. Z-trig, which will set the scale to 2 pi, and Z-standard, which brings it to a default 10 by 10 box. We're going to do this a different way, however. We're going to press window. Now, this x min and x max values are the values at the endpoints, and then the x scale is the scale. It's the same thing for y. So what we're going to do is we're just going to change our minimum y value to negative 17 and our max to 0 and graph this. Now we can see a little bit more. So this calculator can also graph absolute value functions. So to do this, we're going to at first press math and then number to get to absolute value. Excuse me, I did that over the equal sign. You need to do it over the white box. So we're going to try that again. Math, number, absolute value, and there it goes. So we're going to graph x squared minus 4. So to do this, just plug it in, x squared minus 4, and lo and behold, it's graphed. However, you probably can't see this very well because there's not going to be any values of this function that are below the y-axis. So we're just going to press zoom and press 6 to go to zoom standard. This will give you the function a little nicer. For this next problem, the calculator can't technically solve limits, but there is a workaround. So what we're going to do first is plug the function in. Now, one thing to note here is that we'd rather just keep this the way it is and insert the left parenthesis than delete this and start over. It makes your work a lot faster in the long run. So to do this, you're going to press second and then delete to get to insert, and then just throw in a left bracket right there, and you can plug in the rest of the function. Divided by x minus 4. So when we graph this, we're just going to get a pretty simple line. So the way to do this is we can't actually tell the calculator to find the limit as x approaches 4, but we can plug in the values as x gets increasingly close to 4. So we're going to go second trace to get to calculate value. So as you can see, when you plug in 4, there is no y value. It's undefined at that point. So we're going to go value at 3.9, and it spits out 7.9. We're going to go again at 3.999, 7.999. So you can see, obviously we do this for both sides, but for the sake of brevity, we're only doing this for one. It's getting increasingly closer to 8. Now you can also plug in piecewise functions into this calculator. So it's already been done for the sake of time, but I'm going to show you the notation. So the notation here is the function at that piece times, or it looks like it's times, it's actually next to when x is less than negative 2, as you can see here. So the way to do this, to get to these characters right here, are second and then math to get to test, and you'll get these characters. And so for every piece, there's going to be that function, what the function does to the point, and then the qualification right here. And so you add each piece together on the graph. And so if we make this graph visible, also another way to make the graphs of functions visible is just pressing enter over the equal sign. If there's that black box, it means it's going to graph. So as you can see, the calculator is going to spit out a nice graph for your function. Now, although this calculator can't find the derivative of a function, it can find the derivative of a function at a point. So if we wanted to find the derivative of this function at x equals 1.52, we're going to go to second and then trace to get to the calculate. We're going to press 6 to get to the derivative, and we're going to plug in 1.52, or we can just scroll over and it'll trace it to that nice point. And so as you can see, the slope of the tangent line at that point is 3.03. You can also do the same thing for integrals, so we're going to go second trace and then just press 7 to get to that the integral to find the slope under the line, and our lower limit's going to be 0. And our upper limit's going to be 1.5. So we can just plug that in. And it's going to find the area under that line. And so as you can see, the answer is 0.791. Now you can actually do this outside of the graphing menu. So we're just going to leave here by pressing second and quit. And then so you go to math and then press 8 to get to derivative. So we're going to do this in terms of x at the equation. So it's actually very simple. All you have to do is plug it in at that point. So let's say we're trying to solve this at the point 2, excuse me. We just plug in the function. So that's 4x squared times sine x. Sine x at x equals 2. Or whatever point we're trying to solve this derivative at. And it's just going to spit out an answer for you. Very quick, very convenient. You can do the same thing for integrals. It's just going to ask for slightly more information as you need your upper and lower limits. So we're going to press math and then go down, press number 9. And so we're going to go 4, 1 at 3 root x in terms of x. And it's going to give you the area under that curve too. Now, the TI-84 is a really powerful calculator, and it can actually solve a bunch of programs. Now, for the sake of time, one's already been plugged in, and that's the quadratic formula. The coding on this is very simple, but a few tips on this is when you're programming, if you press program, this input-output menu will save you a lot of time. This is where a lot of the stuff you need are for more basic functions. So let's say we wanted to solve this. Now that the quadratic formula has already been downloaded into the calculator, it's a bit simpler. So we're going to press program, quadratic, press enter, and it's just going to prompt you for what you need. So A is 2, B is 45, and C is 99. And it'll spit out your values. Note, this program won't work unless you change your mode to you change your number type mode to real/complex. If it stays in real, a lot of times this is not going to be a value you can use. Some common mistakes are confusing the negative sign with the equal sign, or excuse me, the negative sign with the minus sign. Yeah, thank you for watching.